Chrono Changer! What up, you guys? It's Blackwing 2040. Welcome to another Super Sentai review, and today's review is going to be on 2000's Mirai Sentai Timeranger. And I am so excited to be talking about this show. Guys, I went through this show 3 times, and I kid you not, I had the best time going through this show. I feel like the more I watch this show, I discover so many things. And I think that's a great thing when it comes to like when you rewatch a Toku season. But before I continue, I want you guys all to know I did not make this background. I wish I had the skills and talent to do this, but I didn't make this. This wallpaper was made by a guy named Jurassic Samurai. And basically, as you can see, the icon says Superhero Time 2000. Basically, every single Toku show that came out in the 2000s, yes, Power Rangers included, is represented here on this wallpaper. Let me just see if I can move out the way for you guys to recognize. Of course, you have Kuga, Lightspeed Rescue, Ultraman Neos. I'm not sure which Ultraman this is. I'm pretty sure he appears in Neos as well. But of course, Lightspeed Rescue, the reason why the Lost Galaxy Rangers are here because of the team up Trakina's Revenge, of course. And of course, the Time Rangers are here because, you know, that represents the year 2000 because that's when Time Ranger released. And of course, Kuga also came out in the year 2000. So shout out to Jurassic Samurai for making these. These are really, really beautiful wallpapers. Like, they're amazing. But okay, so with that out of the way, let's get on with the review, folks. First off, like I always do with these Sentai reviews, I'm going to be starting off with the plot synopsis. So, in the 30th century, time travel becomes illegal after a time paradox crisis. The Time Protection Department is established to watch for and stop time crimes. 4 new enlistee cadets of the TPD are tricked by Don Donero and his gang into letting them time travel to the 20th century to commit various crimes. To protect history, the 4 cadets pursue them. There, they encounter a severe problem. The Time Ranger program requires 5 members for the operation. They thus coerce a present-day martial artist, Tatsuya Asumi, to join them, allowing them to become the Time Rangers. Afterwards, Tatsuya rents a building for them to live in, and they start a small odd job business called Tomorrow Research to financially support themselves. Over time, the 4 cadets begin to realize that their presence will inevitably change the future in the form of the City Guardians, a security force under the employment of the Asami Corporation to protect the city from Londars. The City Guardians gain a tenuous relationship with the Time Rangers, especially when Tatsuya's old rival, Naoto Takezawa, becomes Time Fire and later the City Guardians captain. Okay, that's kind of revealing of this, the finale. But anyway, that's basically like the brief synopsis of the entire show. But yeah, this show throws you right into the action right at the very beginning, and it does not hold back at all. Now, the next thing, of course, I want to talk about is the suits. I love these suits. I really do love these suits. First, just the clock arrows on the helmets and on the chest, beautiful. The silver guards of the wrists and on the cuffs of the boots, brilliant. And the technological aspect of the helmets, because when you look at the transformation sequence, you can see like the technological portions of the helmet, like, you know, beam on and off, which is so cool. I love that design. And with Time Fire's suit, his suit being exactly like Red's, but a little different. His clock arrows have a little bit of an edge to them, sharp edges to them, and his cuffs are black on the wrist and the boots. But it's a great shoot. The suits are great. I love the suits. And what else can I say about the suits itself? The story in this show. This show gives you so much. It gives you action. It gives you drama. It gives you romance. It gives you so much shock and awe in this show. It is amazing how Toei started off for the 2000s with a Sentai show this incredibly well written. And it's crazy to say the show is perfect because nothing is perfect. There are a few hiccups here and there, which is fine. But the show goes so well from beginning all the way to the end. And to me, I feel like it's so well written. Now, let's get on with these characters. First up is Time Red Tatsuya. I love Tatsuya. Tatsuya is a goated Red Ranger, straight up. And the great thing about Tatsuya is that the way how he strives to be not like his father, who's the president of the Asami Corporation. His father wants him to live up to the Asami name, but Tatsuya wants to form his own path. And that's real. That is real talk right there. So when he comes into interaction with, the other Rangers, Yuri, Domon, Ayase, and Shion, of course, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what he was walking into. But over time, he starts to, show these individuals who are from the future what's it like to live in the 20th century and his way of living, his way of life, how to survive, how to make a living, and so on and so forth. And they kind of, admire that about Tatsuya. They use that admiration to move forward in their mission. Like Tatsuya gives them an explanation of like the future is not written in stone. He uses like an analogy saying like, take this rock, for example. No one knows the history of this rock. If I throw it that way, I just change its history. That just to give them that simple explanation for them that they can change their future. It's amazing. And his character is just so well written. The way how he interacts with his teammates, phenomenal. Really, really great character overall. All right, next up is Yuri, who is the leader of the team. That's right. The Pink Ranger is the leader of the team. Yuri is stone cold, but she still has a heart under that stone cold iciness. The reason why I say that is because she's on a mission to capture Don De Niro. And I'm going to get to Don De Niro's history when I get to his character. But she's on a full-on headhunting, arrest him because he hired a bounty hunter to kill her father, who's a chief investigator. And Yuri had to watch her parents and her younger sister get killed right in front of her eyes. So ever since then, she has her sole focus is to arrest Don De Niro right then and there. But as the show progresses, even though she likes to carry a lot of barriers for herself, she doesn't like to let people in. But when she met Tatsuya, she started to let her walls down a lot. And this is where the romance subplot comes in for him. And it is so well written for these two. So beautiful that even to the point where Yuri's mission is somewhat completed because she actually gets Donero, but she isn't able to arrest him. Donero gets killed. And I'll go into details later about that. But the fact that she had this whole gumption to arrest this guy, but she isn't the one to arrest him. She felt like she failed her. She failed her parents, she failed her family. But Tatsuya was able to give her that extra reassurance, like, you did it. You didn't, originally complete the mission. And Tatsuya's like, I may not know your father, but I'm pretty sure he's still proud of you and the woman that you're becoming. And then just even in the final portions of the finale episode where Tatsuya, even as they're about to leave and say their goodbyes, Tatsuya admits to Yuri that he loves her and she knows. It's just, oh my God, it is a tearjerker of a scene. The chemistry between Tatsuya and Yuri, it's amazing. I love it. And Yuri's a great Pink Ranger overall. That goes without saying. All right, the next character is Ayase, Time Blue. Ayase goes through so much of an arc. So Ayase's main focus, or his storyline, he has a condition called the Osiris syndrome. So basically, with him being in the 20th century, carrying a futuristic disease, there's no cure for it in the 20th century. So he has to live with this, condition in him throughout his mission. And he told Tatsuya this, that he may have only a year or 2 years left to live. So when he told Tatsuya this, Ayase told him, like, don't tell the others. I'm going to live with this burden all the way to the end. But when the time came where he literally had a near-death experience, and when Tatsuya told the teammates that he has this condition, they flared up on him. But Ayase was like, I was the one that told him not to tell you guys. There's a reason why, but I'm fine. We're going to do this. We're going to complete this mission. When we get back home, everything is going to be taken care of. And he has this, like, cool guy, stoic phase throughout the entire show. But he does have his fair share of moments where he's able to cut loose, open up a bit. He doesn't flare up as much as some of the other characters do, but he has a great developmental story. I love that about Ayase. He's great. All right, next is Domon, Time Yellow. He probably has one of my second favorite story arcs in this entire show. First being Tatsuya. So Domon, he is the muscle of the team. What he lacks in brains, but he actually does have a heart. So he is really caring about his teammates. Like, he cared about Ayase because when he found out about his condition, that, oh no, I don't want you to die, Ayase, because what will we do without you? Like, please. And he also goes through this romance arc with a character named Hanomi, who I'm going to get to again later on. But Domon is a great Yellow Ranger. So cool, so down to earth. Just, he cares so much about his teammates. And I love that about him. Domon's amazing. All right, next is Shion, Time Green. Shion has got to be the most underrated Green Ranger in Sentai history. You don't really hear a lot of people talk about him, and that's a shame, but I love his character regardless. So Shion is an alien from the planet Hubbard. He's the last of his kind. So when he landed on Earth back in the future, he basically spent his life a lot of times in a laboratory, and then of course he enlisted in the Time Protection Bureau. So Shion is the brains of the team. Him understanding Earth, Earth society and how people live in the 20th century. He is a very soft-spoken character, but when it comes to his focus episodes, I feel like he has the best focus episodes ever. And if you've seen Time Range, you guys know Shion definitely has the best focus episodes. And that's without a fact for sure. I just love everything about it. Like, he cares about his friends. He cares about his teammates. He cares about the world around him, even a world that's not really of his, especially in a time period where he's not familiar about. That's the great thing about Shion. He's great. And now the Sixth Ranger, Naoto. And also I got to mention, going forward from this point, from 2000 onwards, Sentai gets a Sixth Ranger every single season. So, of course, in the 90s, they didn't really get a Sixth Ranger every single season. It's like every other season would get a Sixth Ranger. But from this point onward, Super Sentai has Six Rangers. So, Naoto, aka Time Fire. This guy, So he has a history with Tatsuya. They both went to college together, but he dropped out. So Naoto enlisted into the City Guardians, and he wants to move up the food chain in the power level. The reason why I mean by that is he wants to move up the business rank. So he's going from a soldier. His captain got injured, and then when he finds out about the Time Fire powers, he uses that to an advantage and tells President Asami, like, look, the City Guardians need a leader. I'm the Time Fire. I'm the Ranger now, so I should be leader. And evidently, he does get promoted. But later on, when President Asami gets injured, he uses that to his advantage. I'm like, okay, President Asami's injured. Now I could probably be in charge of the Asami Corporation and the City Guardians and be headquarter chief all at the same time. He wants to use every single advantage to himself so that way he could be at the top of the food chain. It's crazy for him to do this, but he's just like, that's his hard-earned goal. And you have the Time Rangers telling him, like, yo, power is not the only way to make a living. You can't just rely on power alone for your life. And sadly, he doesn't really get that until he dies, which is crazy. I know we haven't had a Six Ranger death since Mirai back in Zoo Ranger. So this again goes into another character I'm going to talk about later. But Naoto, his rivalry that he has with Tatsuya is good. It's really good. The way how Tatsuya wants to change the future and work for a better tomorrow. And you have Naoto, who's really just striving to become the best that he can be, no matter what it takes. It makes for a great rivalry story arc, and it's really, really cool. So that's all the main Rangers. Now let's get on to the supporting characters. So the first supporting character is Tak. Tak is basically their robotic navigator. He tells them all about the criminals that they're capturing in every single episode. The criminal type, their MO. He's the one that calls the Zords whenever they need, to form the Time Robo Megazord. And that's basically about it about Tak. There's not really much of a development. He doesn't really go through any like arcs or anything like that. He's just their computer navigator. And yeah, this team doesn't necessarily have a mentor in some case, but Tak is not really a mentor, but he is their guide throughout the 20th century, which is nice. Now, the next character I want to talk about is Hanomi. So Hanomi is a character who falls in love with Time Yellow, and her arc throughout the entire show she thinks that Time Yellow is Ayase just because of his cool demeanor and everything like that. So the whole arc throughout the entire show, Domon thinks that Hanami has a crush on Ayase, but as the show progresses, when Hanami realizes that it's Domon who's Time Yellow, it's amazing. And when she finds out, she doesn't freak out or anything, but the way it's written, it's like a beautiful love story. They get together, they form a relationship, but when time came for, the show to end, where Domon had to go back to the future, she completely understood no matter what. And then at the finale of the show, literally, when Tatsuya, of course, is just relaxing and getting, going about his day and everything, he checks up on Hanami from time to time. She had a baby. Her and Domon had a kid, but Domon doesn't know. But of course, this becomes a story arc later in Gokaiger. For those of you guys who watch Gokaiger, you guys know what I'm talking about. But that is so crazy that, she has a son. But, I'm telling you, the show is amazing. And the last supporting character I want to talk about is Mr. Asumi. This is Tatsuya's father. So he wants Tatsuya to live up to the Asami name. But Tatsuya, of course, wants to go on his own path. He feels disappointed in his son that he's not following in his footsteps. And the fact that he's just disregarding the name, but he's also kind of like abusing the name itself to help him get into events and everything like that. But even in the finale, after he recovered from his injury, he realizes that he can't necessarily stop his son from doing what he loves or what he needs to do. Even when he discovered that his son is time red, he realized that his son is going to have to do this his own way, and that his son is not wanting to be him. That's the thing. And he kind of accepts that. Of course, it may seem like he's a bad guy that, his son doesn't want to follow in his footsteps, but in the end, he still kind of accepts it. He can't change it. He's like, that's my son. There's nothing really I can do about that. Let him do what he wants. Okay, so that's all the supporting characters. Now, the next is the villains. So let's start with supposedly the main villain, Don Donero. So, as you guys know, if you've seen Power Rangers Time Force, Ranzik is the main villain in Power Rangers Time Force. Don Donero, who is basically Gluto in Time Force, is the main villain here. So, Don Donero, he's like this big business tycoon criminal that works his way up through kind of like the mafia level type by making money. And so when he tricks the Rangers as they're about to do their trip to the year 2000, he teleports the prison that's holding all the criminals onto the track that starts the time shift to travel into the back into the past. So when they land there, he basically sets up shop. He starts making a business. He starts literally making a business fortune in the year 2000. And then as time goes on, once you get to the finale, you realize, all right, I guess I've done my work here. It's time to go. But when Yuri kills him, he feels like Yuri asks him, why did you send a bounty hunter to kill my family? He's like, I don't remember. It was like, you really think I know the reason why I would remember why I did that? I'm just like, wow. He basically just took that to the grave with him. With no care in the world. It's sad. It's crazy, but it's just savage. It's just a savage storyline for him. Now, the next character, the next villain I want to talk about is Leela. Leela is the femme fatale of the show. She doesn't do much. She really doesn't do much. She pretty much relies on the money that Don Donero always collects, always the money that he makes, and she uses that money to go shopping and yada, 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 yada. Sometimes she gets her hands dirty to fight off the Time Rangers, and that's about it. But I feel like she just stays one note throughout the entire show. And then when she found out that Don Donero got killed, she just leaves. She packs her things, she tells the foot soldiers to get her things ready, we're leaving. And then after that, she says, Don Donero, even if you didn't have money, I would still love you. And that's it. Her whereabouts throughout the rest of the show, completely unknown. She's just written off. It would be nice to know what happened to her, but this is just one of those characters where her fate you don't really know about at all. I would have liked to know what happened to her at the end of the show, though. But it's completely forgotten. So the next character I want to talk about is Gien. Now, Gien is a certifiably insane psycho robot. So before he got turned into a robot, he actually was human, but he wasn't really as smart. So when Don Donero was on the run, Gien rescued him and saved him from getting caught. But then later on, Gien got he got caught by the people that were looking for Don Donero, and then that led to Gien almost succumbing to his injuries. Don Donero was able to find a doctor who was able to put Gien's brain into a robotic body. But after that, as time went on, Gien went from like being a helper for Don Donero to becoming somebody that's just obsessed with death and destruction. Like he went just totally just psycho. Like completely, he enjoys the sound of death, destruction, killing. He's certifiably insane. And so the doctor, when he put Gien's brain in the robot, the doctor gave Don Donero this key. Like if he ever goes over the edge, use this key to revert him back to his original state, the childish form of what he was. And so Gien, man, he's crazy. That's all I can say. He's like crazy. I won't say evil, but he's just insane. That's all I can really say about it. And now for the final character I want to talk about, the real mastermind of Timeranger, Captain Ryuya. Here's the reason why I say this. So Captain Ryuya is the original Time Fire. Here's how the story goes. So when Time Fire and the Zord itself got transported through a failed time experiment, there were two alternate timelines. There's a good timeline where he gets to the past, but it ends up destroying the future. And then another timeline where a G-Zord, like this evil Zord, comes through the time hole and kills Gien. But the thing that these two time streams have in common, the outcome is that he dies in both of them. So what he does, he deliberately changes the timeline of one specific day, the day that he was supposed to die. He has Naoto die in his place. And let me tell you, this is the most diabolical, despicable thing that I have ever seen a villain ever do. I'm just like, he's beyond redemption. He does not care. So when he finds, I don't understand what's going through this guy's brain. Like even to a point where Don Donero put Gien back into his childish state and locked him in a room. He came back to the present, unlocked the door, reverted Gien back to his psychotic mood swing, and he's telling him like, I'm protecting you. You're not supposed to be doing anything like this. I'm trying to save myself from dying. And I'm also trying to save your butt as well. He's doing all this scheming. And when the Time Rangers find out, they just straight up, it's insane. Like Ayase was trying to fix everything, and he found out that Naoto got killed because of his stupid actions and selfish reason. He ended up killing Captain Ryuya. It was just crazy. This guy is beyond redeemable. He deserved what happened to him. Just like, forget it. You deserve everything that happened to him. That is a villain. That is really a villain. But man, oh man, oh man. Guys, Time Ranger is a phenomenal show. That's all the characters. Time Ranger is just a phenomenal show overall. I could talk about this show over and over and over again. My rating of the show is goated. The show is goated. You need to watch Time Ranger for sure. Anyone that's in Super Sentai who's probably seen like any Super Sentai show from like the 2010s onward, or probably seen like a few of the 2000 show or a few of the 90s Sentai shows, you gotta watch Time Ranger. Time Ranger goes hard. It's a must watch. It is phenomenal. It's a masterpiece. It's beautiful. It's chef's kiss. It's that good. And so that's my review of Timeranger. The show is available to watch on physical media, and it's also available to watch on Tubi TV. I will link the link for the Timeranger DVD in the description below. So that's my review. Thank you guys so much for watching. In the comment section below, what did you think of Timeranger? Do you think it was good? Do you think it was bad? Are you in between on it? Let me know in the comment section below. And stay tuned for the next review is going to be on Timeranger versus Go-Go 5. But also the next show I'm going to be reviewing after Timeranger is going to be Kamen Rider Kuga, the first Kamen Rider show of the Heisei era. And it's also the rebrand and resurrection of Kamen Rider. I cannot wait to talk about Kuga with you guys because Kuga is so important. It's a very important piece in Kamen Rider history and Tokusatsu history as well. So stay tuned for that. But as always, folks, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and click that bell to be notified. And as always, I'm Vengeance, I'm Darkness, I am Blackwing. Stay golden.